Hi, I'm Darcel Lobo and I own Dow Law Firm, and today we're going to talk about transfer on death deeds, what they are, how to use them, and just answer all questions that I receive about this document, how it works, how to use it, should you use it. So let's dive right in. So let me back up and say that this is specific to Washington State. I am only licensed in Washington State, and so this document and this process that I'm going to explain to you is specific to Washington State. So if you have real estate in Washington State that you want to use a transfer on death deed for, I'm happy to help. If your property is outside of Washington State, I would love to help you, but I cannot do so. I'm only licensed in Washington State. So now that that's out of the way, let's just dive right into what is a transfer on death deed. Why would somebody use it? A transfer on death deed is a way for you to name a beneficiary to your real estate. So you may be familiar with naming a beneficiary to a bank account, a life insurance policy, a retirement plan. So in Washington State, you can actually name a beneficiary to your real estate just like you would a financial account. Now, this has been in effect in Washington State for about 9 or almost 10 years now, and it is a type of deed. You may have heard of a quitclaim deed or a warranty deed. There's various types of deeds. This one is called a transfer on death deed. And as with all deeds, the deed gets recorded with the county where the property is located. So I'm in King County, so most of my clients have properties in King County that want to use a transfer on death deed, but we can help you with property anywhere, no matter what county you're in Washington State. We can help you with your transfer on death deed and get it recorded with the county where the property is located. Even if you live in a different county than where the property is located, let's say it's a second home or an investment property for you, the transfer on death deed gets recorded where the property is located, not necessarily where you are located. Now, the transfer on death deed is permanent, but it is revocable, right? So once you prepare the transfer on death deed, you've named the beneficiary and you've recorded with the county, that is in effect. It is in place, and upon your passing, that property would pass to who you have named as the beneficiary. But you do have the right to revoke it during your lifetime, and as long as you have the capacity to do so. But in order to revoke it, there are some steps you have to take. You have to record another document with the county in order to revoke it. So you can either record the revocation itself, saying I revoke that prior transfer on death deed. That makes it null and no longer in effect. Or if you want to update, let's say you previously named one person, now you want to name someone else, we would do a new transfer on death deed that revokes the prior transfer on death deed. If you're going to revoke the prior transfer on death deed, you have to ensure that revocation meets the requirements under Washington State law and is recorded with the county wherever you recorded that transfer on death deed in the first place. Okay? And so with the transfer on death deed, it's very common that you would still have a will or a trust or some kind of estate plan in place. So let's say you have a transfer on death deed, but you also have a will, and they're not consistent. Your transfer on death deed says the property goes to person A, but your will says the property goes to person B. Which one prevails? The transfer on death deed. The transfer on death deed supersedes your will. So we want to ensure that if you prepare a transfer on death deed and record it with the county, that if you want to change that, it's not enough to just say so in your will, because the transfer on death deed supersedes your will. So we want to ensure that we're revoking the prior transfer on death deed with either the revocation by itself or with a new transfer on death deed that revokes the prior one. So, okay, we have the transfer on death deed. How does the person that you named, how does your beneficiary actually receive that property upon your passing? Once the homeowner passes away, we will need to record, or not record, but file with the county your death certificate and a real estate excise tax affidavit. both of those go to the county where the property is located for filing with the recorder's office. Once those have been filed, title to that property is then vested with whoever you've named as beneficiary. So it's a pretty seamless process as compared to like a will that would have a probate and, you know, have in the court's involvement. This happens pretty seamlessly to have that property transferred to someone after you've passed away, which is why it is so important that we make sure that it reflects what your intentions are, and who you want to have named is who we actually have named in the transfer on death deed, and that if you want to make any changes to it, that we do so. So what are any downsides to a transfer on death deed? Well, there are a few. Some people may or may not think of it as a downside. I think of it as maybe not so much a downside as it is a word of caution to anyone who wants to use a transfer on death deed. Because a transfer on death deed, as soon as you sign it, it gets recorded with the county. So anyone would have public notice that the person that you named as the beneficiary is going to inherit that property at some point as upon your passing. But that is public notice that is given immediately when we file the transfer on death deed, that that person's going to inherit it. And so that comes with some caution if that person who you've named as beneficiary has any financial concerns. If they have any past due taxes owed to the IRS, if they have any child support and that is past due and owing, if there's any liens against them, any judgments against them, those can attach to the home as soon as they receive that property, as soon as the homeowner passes away. So that's one conversation that I have with my clients who want to do a transfer on death deed, is that, do you know if the person that you're naming, does that beneficiary have any kind of financial concerns that we need to be aware of before we put them as the beneficiary to your property? That's my main concern. The public notice that it gives immediately, and then if there's any kind of liens, any kind of judgments that may attach to that property you're leaving to them. So, but other than that, a transfer on death deed is a great way to efficiently transfer real estate to someone that you want to name as a beneficiary. Now, a transfer on death deed by itself is not a comprehensive estate plan. You would still want to talk to an attorney about an estate plan with a will or a trust to plan for your other assets. But a transfer on death deed is a very efficient way to transfer a single piece of property. So if you need help, if the property that you need help with is located in Washington State, we'd be happy to help you. Give us a call or a text. Our number is 206-408-8158, or you can visit us online at dowlawfirm.com, which is DALLAWFIRN.com. Thank you and have a great day.